Hello, I'm Karolina, Python developer at Oxylabs, and today I'm going to talk about large-scale web scraping and how to never get blocked again. On today's agenda, we have data gathering challenges, defining a scraping strategy to get public content you want, avoiding getting blocked when scraping publicly available data on a large scale. Then I'm going to talk about recognizing HTTP response, and then I'm going to introduce you to an advanced tool, which is Web Unblocker, and I'll show a quick demo of it. And then I'm going to finish off with the closing remarks. We are going to answer your questions during the webinar, so don't forget to enter them in the chat box below, and we will try our best to do that. So, in general, anti-bot systems are becoming more and more complex, which means that web scraping is getting more and more complicated. This comes with a certain set of challenges. There are two sides of a coin. First one being constructing a target scraping strategy to receive public content that you want, and the second one being avoiding getting blocked by the target when scraping publicly available data on a large scale, which requires changing a web fingerprint if it was blocked. Before discussing the techniques of defining a scraping strategy, I would like to remind you that at all times, you should adhere to the robots exclusion protocol, robots.txt file, and the rules defined in there. If the target allows data gathering, you should be respectful and do not harm the website. Scrape during the off-peak hours or initiate delays between your requests. So now, without further ado, let's move on to constructing a strategy to get the public content that you want. So first of all, you should use proxy, because some targets may only load their content when they're accessed from a specific region. For example, if you're based in Germany and you would like to access a website in the US, then in that case, you should use a proxy which allows you to access the website from United States region. Then you should prepare your session, because setting HTTP headers and cookies has a direct impact on the quality of the content that you're going to get. Talking about HTTP headers, I can name a few. First of all, accept language. Accept language header tells the target website in what language the response is preferred for the user. This header should also be in accordance to the IP address and the domain that is being scraped, because otherwise it may seem like suspicious activity. Second of all, you should pass accept encoding header, which tells the target what compression algorithm should be used when returning a response. If the target website allows compressing the response, it may also save you some traffic volume. Then you should also consider using accept header, which tells the target what data format should the response be in. And finally, you should also pass a user agent header. User agent has information on what browser and what platform the user is using, and target websites use this information to tailor their layout accordingly. Which means that an uncommon user agent may result in a simplified layout, or the target website may inform you that it cannot handle this user agent. So in general, you should try to use a popular user agent when constructing a strategy. And finally, for JavaScript-heavy websites, you should use a headless browser, because some targets may only load their content when JavaScript rendering is enabled, and this is where a headless browser comes in, because it allows you to enable JavaScript rendering. most popular browsers such as Chrome or Firefox have headless modes that you can use. And now I would like to talk about avoiding getting blocked when scraping publicly available data on a large scale. In general, scale depends on the sensitivity of a target, because some targets may allow you to reuse the same session with the same parameters over and over again to make multiple requests, while the others may require you to change the parameters and create a new session with each request. So the techniques that I'm going to tell you about let you avoid triggering target sensitivity. So first of all, you should rotate your proxies, because if you send multiple requests with the same IP address, it may seem like a bot-like activity, which may result in the IP address being blocked by the target. In such cases, you should rotate proxies, choosing between data center or residential proxies. However, residential proxies are less likely to get blocked, as they are considered as coming from real users, unlike data center proxies. Then you should rotate your HTTP headers. You may rotate the HTTP headers that I mentioned earlier, and you should also have a user agent list that you keep up to date. Because if you're sending multiple requests with the same user agent header, it may also look suspicious to the target, and this may also be the reason that you're getting blocked. So try to keep it up to date. And the final thing that you can rotate is HTTP engine, because when scraping data on a large scale, some engines may start getting blocked by the target, and in this case you may rotate between curl or requests engines. Furthermore, you may also reuse your session, because if it takes time for you to create a successful session, and if the target allows it according to its sensitivity, you may try to reuse that for the following requests. Also, you should not forget to behave as a website visitor. For example, you should set your referrer HTTP header. A referrer header basically tells the website from where the user originates, because in general, it's highly unlikely that a user accesses the target URL by simply typing it in the browser. Well, he usually accesses the website by surfing the internet. So referrer header tells the target website from where the user originates, and setting it to a search engine or target main page may allow you to avoid getting blocked. Furthermore, you should go to target homepage first. By going to target homepage, you may collect the cookies received from response and then reuse them for the further requests. And finally, you should randomize your scraping speed. For example, you should initiate breaks between the commands or create a random sleep pattern in order to avoid getting blocked. And finally, to change your web fingerprint, you should use a headless browser, because in general, target website may collect a lot of information about your device. For example, the extensions, plugins, browser attributes, and other information that all adds up to create a unique web fingerprint that allows the target website to identify your device more easily. And using a headless browser may allow you to change your web fingerprint to remain undetected, because headless uses stealth scripts that, for example, may change your window size or add some plugins to the browser and use other techniques that allow it to change the web fingerprint. It's also worth mentioning that you should keep your mouse pattern linear and avoid making button clicks repetitively, because they can also add up to generating your web fingerprint and maybe the reason that you get blocked. So now I would like to talk about recognizing the HTTP response. When talking about the HTTP response, I would like to split it in two parts, which is status code and content. Talking about status code, in general, if the target website returns 200, which is success, or 400, which is client error status codes, we can tell that the request turned out okay. However, certain websites may return good content along with an uncommon status code, so you should be aware of that. Now, talking about content, you should be able to distinguish between good and bad content. However, talking about good content, good content may be when you're scraping a product list and, for example, the product list is fully loaded with the whole information of the products, or if you're scraping a product page, it may load all the attributes that you need, for example, product price, product description, and other parameters. However, bad content may look like this. For example, it may not be fully loaded, or the content may return CAPTCHA, which is a popular anti-bot measure which may ask you to solve some kind of a puzzle. Furthermore, the content may be fake because some targets may return fake content when they detect bot-like activity, which may look like good content to the eye. And finally, the content may look completely out of place when opened in a browser, but for such cases, you should always try to disable JavaScript rendering in the browser in order to see the real content that the target website returned. So these were the techniques. If you have any more questions, I would like to remind you to submit them in the Q&A box below, and we will try to answer them during the webinar. And now, talking about these techniques, they all need to be set up manually for each target. However, I would like to propose you to use a Web Unblocker, which is a tool that can handle it for you. So, what is Web Unblocker? Web Unblocker is a machine learning-powered proxy solution that manages the unblocking process to extract quality public data even from difficult targets. Compared to self-managed proxies, both Web Unblocker and self-managed proxies are able to target websites at a country level. However, Web Unblocker does not only that. It also is able to do automated proxy pool management. It also does session control, which reviews a session according to target sensitivity. Web Unblocker also does response recognition and advanced browser fingerprinting. Having a set of cookies, headers, browser attributes, and other information, Web Unblocker generates a unique web fingerprint to avoid getting blocked. Also, Web Unblocker is able to do JavaScript rendering for JavaScript-heavy websites and to generate a unique web fingerprint. And finally, whenever the response returned is bad, Web Unblocker is able to trigger an auto retry because it has a system that repeats the request if the response was bad. So why is it advanced and how does it work? Web Unblocker uses Oxylabs developed dynamic scraping strategy discovery system, which consists of machine learning-powered response recognition, which evaluates the response received and triggers a retry if needed. Also, it does automatic dynamic fingerprinting with a set of headers, cookies, and browser attributes. It generates a unique web fingerprint. And also, Web Unblocker does machine learning-powered proxy management, which uses the best proxy for the target website to scrape. And now I would like to do a quick demo of Web Unblocker. So right now I'm going to show you a quick demo of Web Unblocker. I want to scrape this website, which is a book in Amazon.com. So I wrote a quick script for you. In order to use Web Unblocker proxies, all you need to do is define a proxies dict for both HTTP and HTTPS protocols. In this example, we're going to scrape a website that uses HTTPS protocol. However, if a website uses another protocol, you have to define a proxy for it as well. So the proxy consists of username, password, and an URL. And along with the proxy, you may pass additional headers. In this example, we are going to pass a geolocation header, which in this case is going to be France. In addition, you may also pass such headers as status code, where you can define a custom target-specific successful status code. In addition, if the target requires JavaScript rendering, you may also pass a render HTML parameter, or PNG if you need it to be a base 64 encoded screenshot. Also, you may pass a session ID, which is used whenever you want to reuse the same proxy for multiple requests. Additionally, you may pass any headers and cookies that you'd like. In this example, you can see except language header. However, it can be any header you want, and same goes with cookies. And in the following lines, you can see that I've defined an URL variable, and now I'm going to make a request, pass my URL here, and proxies and headers along with it. And then I'm going to save the result into result.html file and open it up in a browser. So let's run the script. So as you can see, the web page was scraped and the deliver location is set to France. That's it for the demo. Now let's move on to closing remarks. So as antibot systems are getting more and more complex, gathering public data becomes more challenging. However, certain techniques and tools can be used to both define a scraping strategy to receive public content that you want and scrape publicly available data on a large scale. Web Unblocker covers more with one solution than each of the separate solutions proposed, and as a result is significantly less likely to get blocked. So that's it for the webinar today. If you have any more questions, we're going to answer the most popular ones right now, but you have some more, don't forget to send them to events@oxylabs.io and we will answer them for you. So let's move on to the Q&A. First question is, can you integrate Web Unblocker with an existing code? Yes, Web Unblocker can be integrated through a backconnect proxy and is compatible with existing code if you've already utilized proxies in your infrastructure. All you need to do is type our Web Unblocker entry node instead of your current one. How is my traffic usage calculated? We charge you for the sum of upload and download traffic for the successful attempt. We do not charge you for unsuccessful scraping attempts. Can I get parsing data? No, Web Unblocker is focused on unblocking very difficult targets. However, if you need parse data, you may try to look into Scraper APIs, which has a toolset when you need crawling, job scheduling, and other solutions. How does JavaScript rendering work? With Web Unblocker, JavaScript rendering is executed on our side. You do not need to set up a headless browser. All you need to do is pass a render header with either HTML or PNG value, which will then return you an HTML output or a base 64 encoded PNG screenshot. According to the parameter that you're sending. And the final question is, site doesn't work, what do I do now? If this happens to you, don't worry and just reach out to your dedicated account manager with a response that you're getting and a set of URLs that you're trying to scrape, which will then forward it to our tech team, and they will adjust the target scraping strategy. Okay, that's it for the Q&A today. Thank you for your attention, and if your question wasn't answered just yet, submit it into events at oxylabs.io and we will get back to you. See you around!